right, everybody. CC and the recalcitrants here, getting us started on this Easter morning. Happy Easter, everyone. Here in the room and out there in TV land. We actually have folks in the building today. Folks we haven't seen in a while. Jessica's here. Bob, of course, here. And we've got Lee and a visitor. Yay! Your name is Dawn? Dawn, all right. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to you out there. We are continuing our Via Transformativa theme of the Great Light, and we have been exploring the truth about ourselves, which is we are created of and in light, and we are always surrounded by the great light of the holy that invites us to live into our true divine identity. And yes, today is Easter Sunday. It is the day we set aside to celebrate the resurrection of Christ. On this one day, we celebrate. But according to A Course in Miracles, resurrection isn't a one-day annual type of event. It happens all the time. It happens whenever we help one another out of our misery and our pain. We are all resurrected and reborn, the Course says, when another's mind turns to the light and looks for the divine. Resurrection happens in any moment that we remember who we truly are. We are the light of the world. We are not our fears, we are not our anxieties, and neither are we joy or our happiness. Anything that is external in this world, it is fleeting, it is impermanent. Resurrection, though, reminds us of what never changes, that great light that shines in eternity and creates us as we are. We are created out of love and joy and peace. So this is a happy day, jubilants. Days of resurrection are always filled with eternal joy and love and peace, but instead of reserving it for an annual celebration, I invite you to find ways to resurrect in every moment of your life. The Course says we always have a choice in this life. We can focus on the crucifixion, we can focus on those events that challenge us or sadden us or piss us off in some way, or we can focus on the resurrection. That moment when we can look past the fear of this world and step into that peace and love and joy that is always abiding within us. So jubilants today, I invite you, let us throw off the grave clothes of ego and emerge from the tomb of fear, because we are here to soak up the sun, to bask in the great light of love that created us and become the source of that light in this world, so that everyone we can encounter gets to say, oh, yeah. All right, rise as you're able. There are people to rise in this room. I am so happy. Jim and Gail have joined us, too. Oh, yeah. And we begin, as we do every Jubilee celebration, by remembering the four elements, the fire and the earth and the water and the air. And we call the four directions to orient ourselves in this sacred time and sacred place.
Let us turn and face the east. The sun rose this morning. It's a resurrection. A return to life for this side of the world. Remind us, Holy One, that the great light that shines within us always beckons us to resurrection, to awaken to the truth about ourselves. We are the light of the world, shining your love. May we shake off the darkness we perceive in our own hearts and become the dawn of love for the world. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the south. The warm summer breezes will soon take hold in our fair city, Holy One, reminding us that seasons are resurrections. The summer is not dead. It has merely moved itself halfway around the world and now arises again in our awareness. Let us welcome the change in seasons, knowing that they bring us a chance to awaken to the divinity of creation all around us. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the west. The west can be a sign of resurrection too, Holy One, reminding us that though darkness may seem to fall in our world, the light still shines somewhere. Remind us that our perception of darkness is just that, our experience of the moment. Help us to know that even when we believe our world is dark, that light still shines, offering us the chance to awaken in every moment and see its bright rays. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the north. The cold of the north reminds us, Holy One, that though our tomb of ego may seem cold and forbidding, it is not the end of our story. Our world ends in victory. Our world ends in light. Our world ends in the laughter of resurrection. Remind us to laugh in the cold times, Holy One, knowing that the warmth of your love is always available. Turn back toward the center. The Christ is risen indeed, jubilants. In any moment when you realize this body, this ego, and this world are not your reality, you are reborn. In any moment that you help another relieve their suffering, resurrection occurs. In any moment that you realize that you are the light of the world and fear is nothing but an illusion, resurrection occurs. Let us celebrate not just this day of resurrection, but the opportunity of every moment to awaken and truly say, oh yeah.
All right, remain standing. We're going to do some opening song for you. Can y'all hear me? Oh, this is testing 1 2. Okay. All right, I couldn't hear myself, so there you go. I'm going to do a little opening song for you. And if you want to, if I haven't printed bulletins, but bulletins are available online. You can go to jubileecircle.com and download it from the website there. It will say something about today's bulletin, so please download one from there so you can follow along. Here we go. 2, 3, 4.
Stuck here watching TV.
the sun. Got my 45 on so I can rock on. Oh, yeah. All right, everybody, you may be seated in here. You may be seated out there, too, if you chose to stand up. Excuse me, pardon me. That one little knob to turn over here, because I can't hear myself up here. So. I'm going to rectify that. Oh, hey, there I am. It's like I'm speaking again. Hey, y'all. Man, it's so good to have all you in the building today. I know. Well, Gail was. Gail was doing it. And you out there, if you want to put some pants on, you're welcome to join us, too. Shirts, too, you know. Bob says you can come pantless. It's okay. That's called being in a dress. You can do that, too. Huh? Or a kilt, or a sari, or a... That's right. We won't look up your kilt, we promise. So welcome, everybody. Yes, you're welcome to come in the building. We've got everyone distanced and masked, and I got my Johnson & Johnson on Friday, so I have been vaccinated, and they cleaned my ears and groomed me. It was great. Full service. Yeah, they clipped my nails. It was like a full service vaccination clinic. So yeah, and folks up here are moving toward that as well. So we're going to get all vaccinated, and everybody can come on back, and we can enjoy ourselves again here in the building. We have made some changes. If you haven't been here since March of last year, the bar is gone. Aww. But now it's a beautiful cabinet back there, huh? Yeah, right. Yeah, the bar is gone, and all your tabs are cleared. So, but we still, when we come back for open mics and stuff, and hopefully that's coming in a few months, we still will be able to be a bar, even though we have no bar anymore. Anyway, but we've got all this room, so now we can come and enjoy and dance and have a good time. And just to introduce you to the amazing band that you just heard, Trisha Fopp is invisible today. Our guitarist and our other guitarist and singer, she had some friends come in town, so she's taking the day off. We miss you, Trisha. Anyway, hope you're enjoying your day off. This is Janice Mewborn over here on the banjo and vocals. We got Bruce Clark back here in the lead guitar department, and Keith Edwards on the bass, Beth Dehart over there on the drums, and Michael Sprinkles Reisman on everything else. That's his new nickname. He told us he puts the beautiful in everything. He just puts the sprinkles on top.
I did not say that. It was Beth.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it was
all
Keith?
right. Well, rhythm section, they all look alike after a while. Oh, that's right. All right. So, yes, Jubilee Circle, a little bit about us. We are an inclusive, progressive, interfaith community here in Columbia, South Carolina, and we teach the timeless common wisdom of love and unity that is found in all of mainstream religions, in metaphysical philosophies, mysticism, and the teachings of inspired secular and religious leaders throughout the centuries, and we seek to create a space for everybody, either online or here in the building, to transform spiritually, to find life's deeper meaning, to love wastefully, to engage the world peacefully, to do justice, and all in an effort to discover how to live into our true divine self. And we also recognize that we are God's good creation. We are made of love and joy and peace. But we humans, we forget about this. Something about being born into this world makes us forget. Instead, we believe that we are in this world of paradox, where we encounter others as beautiful or ugly or good or bad or generous or stingy or loving and recalcitrant. Oh, how many voices? Y'all say that word again.
Recalcitrant.
Yay, that's so beautiful to hear it out there and not just behind me. That's beautiful. Yes, recalcitrant. But let us remember our true function here at Jubilance. It is to continually return to that home that we have never left while we embody and be an open channel for love in this world, that love that created us. So everybody gets to say, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, a couple of announcements. Next week, we're going to continue our Via Transformativa theme of the Great Light. And next week, I'm going to be delivering a message to the Unitarians in Newberry, who are still meeting virtually. And Lee McEachern, Lee, whoa, you may know him online, but Lee is going to be here to talk about the difference between how the ego sees you and how God sees you, because those really are different kinds of visions of who and what you are. So Lee will be our guest preacher next week. All right. Was there anything else that you want to say about that message, Lee? Did I wrap that up right? All right. All right. So tune in for that. Come visit us. Lee will be up here. And the board's meeting today, so we're going to talk about some other upcoming events, hopefully in June, July. We might be able to schedule some events in the building, maybe do another open mic or get Tomorrow Quest to come. And
As long as we have a giant party.
oh, yeah, right. And you know, I was thinking about trying to do something, maybe like an outdoor kind of event out here, because we have this ginormous parking lot. But we got to do that before it gets way too hot. But hopefully we'll come up with some options. And so stay tuned. Jubilee Circle coming back. All right. Breathe deeply. Hear these wise and holy words.
From the
That's
Jesus story, John 20:11-14-16. Mary stood weeping outside the tomb. She turned around and saw Jesus standing there, but she did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you looking for?" Supposing him to be the gardener, she said to him, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him away." Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned and said to him in Hebrew, "Rabboni," which means teacher. From A Course in Miracles, Lesson 122. Forgiveness offers everything I want. Forgiveness lets the veil be lifted up that hides the face of Christ from those who look with unforgiving eyes upon the world. It lets you recognize the Son of God and clears your memory of all dead thoughts so that remembrance of your Father can arise across the threshold of your mind. What would you want forgiveness cannot give? Here is the perfect answer given to imperfect questions, meaningless requests, half-hearted willingness to hear, and less than halfway diligence and partial trust. Here is the answer. Seek for it no more. From Gerald Jampolsky's book, Forgiveness, the Greatest Healer of All. Forgiveness is the way to a place of inner peace and happiness, the way to our soul. We can look upon forgiveness as a journey across an imaginary bridge from a world where we are always recycling our anger to a place of peace. That journey takes us into our own spiritual essence and the heart of God. It takes us to a new world of expanding, unconditional love. Through forgiveness, we are released from our fear, anger, and pain to experience oneness with each other and our spiritual source. Forgiveness is the way out of darkness and into the light. It is our function here on earth, allowing us to recognize ourselves as the light of the world.
These are wise and holy words. Thanks be to the holy. All creation is holy word. All creation speaks volumes of the holy. Hallelujah. Let's stand and sing. 2, 2, 3, 4. Don't you know we're all light? Yeah, I read that someplace. Don't you know we're all light? Yeah, it's a bumper sticker someplace. So you won't mind if I kiss you now. We may hear the angels recite. Don't you know in this new dark age we're all light? And I won't take from you what you can't take from me, and I'll leave nothing here that you can't use upon your trip. I won't take from you what you can't take from me, and I'll leave nothing here but love and milk aplenty for your tea. Yeah. Don't you know in this new dark age we're all light? All right. So this morning, to celebrate Easter, a little song about resurrection and forgiveness, because that's what it's all about. This song is by country music singer and songwriter Eric Paslay. I'd never heard of him before, but this is what Google searches do for you when you're looking for a song for Sunday morning. So I had alternately entitled this, since we got naked last Sunday for Palm Sunday, we took off our ego. We dropped our cloak of ego last Sunday on Palm Sunday. I had alternately turned this one, titled this one, Jesus Drops the F-Bomb. Because that's what we're talking about today, that F word that nobody likes. Forgiveness. Yeah. So turn to one person next to you and go, F you. That's right. F you. Call your sister. F you too. Call your mama. F you. Forgive you. That's what you're supposed to be saying today. That's part of resurrection. So this song by Eric Paslay is called Less Than Whole, and it comes from his self-titled 2014 release. All right, called Eric Paslay. So that's what it was called. It's amazing how that works. All right, yeah. It kind of goes like this. Huh? You start.
I can't remember it.
Dun, 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 dun. Thank you. We have to remember so much here. Sometimes it's hard to remember. The gray clouds have departed, the stars light up the night. Now I can see through darkness, the river shines with light. I've waded through the water, my soul is coming clean. I've held my breath forever, but now it's time to breathe. There's nothing like forgiveness to resurrect the soul. Better to give than get it. I've been forgiven, so I'm letting you know. Nobody should be less than whole. There's a story out of the Bambima tribe of South Africa about this tribe, and they have a peculiar forgiveness ritual. When someone acts irresponsibly or unjustly, as Buddhist monk Jack Kornfield describes this process in his book, The Art of Forgiveness, Loving Kindness, and Peace, he says they are placed at the center of the village, alone and unfettered. They could run away if they wanted to. And all work ceases, he writes, and every man, woman, and child in the village gathers in a large circle around the accused individual. Then each person takes a turn speaking to the person who has been accused of acting unjustly or irresponsibly. But what they talk about, Kornfield says, what they say to this person at the center of the circle is not to recount all of the things they have done wrong. It's not to tell this individual all the ways that their actions have hurt others or the community at large. Instead, the person is told stories about all the good things that they have done in their lives. Kornfield writes that all the person's positive attributes, good deeds, strengths, and kindnesses are recited carefully and at length. This is a ceremony that can run for several days. But when they're finished, they break the circle, and a celebration is held, and Kornfield writes, the person is symbolically and literally welcomed back into the tribe. On a day when we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus, in whichever sense pleases you, you can either think of this as figuratively, physically, or metaphysically. This story, though, this story of resurrection, it presents us with a clear picture of how we are to live our lives as resurrected people. Instead of holding grievances, punishing someone for their misdeeds, shunning them from community, telling them over and over again how horribly they have hurt us. Those who have truly risen from their tombs of fear don't dwell on the perceived misdeeds of others. Instead, when an offense occurs against us, all we know how to do if we are living this resurrected life is to see them as they truly are, to see them as their good deeds, to see them as their beauty, to see them as their innocent and pure spirit. So does that mean that there's no punishment, there's no justice or reparations for those who have been harmed or wronged? Well, we don't have any details about this tribe's justice system. But I think what we're dealing with is two different issues. This bodily world that we have created, it has its laws, it has its norms, it has its systems, and they're in place to deal with whatever offense anyone has committed. As Jesus once said, give unto Caesar what is his, and give unto God what belongs to God. Justice belongs to this bodily world, and we should be concerned with how it's carried out. However, when we understand who we truly are, when we know that we are the light of the world, we must act as God would act, and that is with forgiveness, with reconciliation, and with an invitation to rejoin the holy eternal community that nobody ever truly leaves anyway. We just think we do. A Course in Miracles says in Lesson 62, forgiveness is the demonstration that you are the light of the world. But our ego will interject, because it always has something to say when the F word is the topic. What this person did was really, really bad, your ego will say. They hurt a lot of people. Isn't forgiving them just excusing what they did? And the ego always asks this question because the ego doesn't have a clue what forgiveness is really about. Forgiveness, as our reading from the Course reminds us today, offers everything we could ever want by reminding us not of the offenses that have been perpetrated against ourselves and others, but by offering us yet another chance to remember who we truly are and to remember who everyone else around us truly is. We are all part of the great light of love, and that love is present and shines through every person, whether they know it or not, whether they are intentionally shining that light or not. As the light of the world, which we all are, we have a responsibility to see forgiveness not as a way to excuse wrongdoing, but as a holy journey, as Gerald Jampolsky describes it, that takes us into our own spiritual essence and the heart of God. It takes us, he says, to a new world of expanding, unconditional love. But we never make that journey alone, jubilants. By being the beloved community that seeks to remind even the most recalcitrant among us of their true identity as the light of the world, we lead them to their own spiritual essence and back into the heart of God that they have never left. And as Pasley's song reminds us, there is nothing like forgiveness to resurrect a soul. Breathe deeply. 2, 3, 4. So many broken people, their hearts forget to beat. Grown up, no one's forgiven. Go on, forgive yourself. Go on, forgive yourself. 'Cause there's nothing like forgiveness to resurrect a soul. Better to give than get it. I've been forgiven, so I'm letting you go. Nobody should be less than whole. Yeah. Now I gotta confess, some pastors love Holy Week, they love Easter, they love all the pageantry and all of that stuff, but I'm not one of them. Easter, honestly, it is my least favorite sermon to write every year because it's all about the past. You know, I got to move in the present and learn to like Easter as it is. But here, in my past, that Southern Baptist tradition, it taught me that the resurrection of Jesus was a literal bodily event that was proven by the absence of his body in the tomb and the many sightings of him recorded in the Gospels after his crucifixion and burial. So, did Jesus literally rise from the grave back into his scarred and abused body? I don't know. I really don't. I have no clue. And frankly, I have come to the point of not even caring one way or the other. Because the debate detracts from the real reason for the resurrection in the first place. It's not about whether Jesus was physically reanimated in some miraculous fashion. It's about the miracle of forgiveness and whether we can still recognize Jesus walking around the world today in what Mother Teresa once said is in all of his terrible disguises. Mary gives us an example of how we can live a resurrected life. When she came to the tomb in today's Jesus story, she goes and she finds it empty, and naturally she begins to weep. She assumes that someone that she had loved dearly someone she had loved dearly was gone, couldn't even go in his body. And so he's gone forever. And so she sees a guy standing outside the tomb, the scriptures say. She mistook him for the gardener. And this is an important thing. We read over this important thing. She looks at the gardener, who is Jesus, and she doesn't see him. And this, jubilants, is what we do every single day of our lives. Every single time we look at anyone who is before us and we see anything but the divine eyes of Christ staring back at us. Anytime we look at someone and we say, oh, there's my enemy. Oh, there's an obstacle. There's somebody I got to get around. Oh, there's a stranger. Oh, there's an evildoer. There's a recalcitrant somebody. Anytime we look at another person and we don't see them as the embodiment of Christ, we're still in the ego's tomb. We're still not resurrected. Any moment that we hold a grievance against anyone for any reason, whether we perceive it to be small or large, we should step back from our perception of them in this worldly plane. And instead, we should put them in the circle of our heart, where we can sit with them, like that tribe in that place of spirit, and tell them all the good things that they have done for the world, even if all we can think of is maybe they brought coffee to their spouse or loved one that day. Anything. Maybe they petted their dog. Again, in this bodily world, with its systems, we work for justice for those who miscreate or harm each other. But on the level of spirit, that place where we really live, we see nothing but forgiveness, nothing but their purity of heart. We feel nothing but unconditional love for them because we recognize Christ is in them. Forgiveness, our reading from the course says, lets the veil be lifted up that hides the face of Christ from those who look with unforgiving eyes upon the world. It lets you recognize the child of God and clears your memory of all dead thoughts so that remembrance of your Creator can arise across the threshold of your mind. Every time you look at someone, you should go, there's Christ, there's Christ, there's Christ, and there's Christ. Let the veil be lifted so you can see Christ. And without those dead, egoic, judgmental thoughts, jubilants, our weeping, like Mary's, turns into joy because we hear our true name spoken by that person, by the Christ within them, and the veil is lifted. In that moment, we too will be like Mary. We will shout, Rabboni, and recognize that everyone we meet is our teacher. Everyone we meet shows us how to see past those distressing disguises of ego and behold the wholeness within everyone that we see. Breathe deeply. 2, 3, 4. So many broken people, their hearts forget to beat. Grown up, no internet sleuths over the years, always are killjoys of some sort, they have debunked this story about the tribe and its ceremony. Online fact checkers have traced this story back to a man named Leonard Zunin, who wrote about the ritual back in 1974. And he offered no further details about it, no other sort of proof. And Cornfield repeated it in his book, and it has even become an internet meme. I mean, if you look it up, there's memes about it. However, there is scant documentation to prove its veracity. Is it true? Is it false? Well, just like whether there was a real physical resurrection of Jesus or a figurative one, does it really matter? Aren't we focusing on the letter of the law and not the spirit by insisting that all stories be factually true when at their depth, some stories are truer than anything that could ever take place in this bodily realm? This is the thing about the bodily illusion. We think truth needs to be something that literally took place in time and space. Online, we're told pictures or it didn't happen, right? You got to prove it. That's why there's a picture of me getting a vaccine. I got the card, I got the picture. It happened. But the truth, my friends, it isn't limited to the tomb of literalism that we try to stuff it in. That's one of the ego's oldest ploys. The story of the tribe, whether it happened or not, it's true because it shows us how to live a resurrected life, how to recognize the Christ in everyone around us, and invite even the worst offender to recognize their place in this eternal community of infinite spirits while having all of these disparate bodily experiences. It invites us to imagine a world where this kind of love, this kind of forgiveness, and this kind of restoration into community can literally happen. All it takes is to create that world. All it takes to create that world is to change our own minds about what is true and what is not, what is real and what is not, what is illusion and what is reality. The ego, jubilance, is illusion. The Christ within is reality. The bodily world is illusion. The eternal spirit we embody in this moment is reality. Fear is illusion. Love is reality. The tomb is illusion. Resurrection is reality. And we live that resurrected life when we fully embrace forgiveness as the way to a place of inner peace and happiness, the way to our soul, as Jampolsky writes. Forgiveness, he continues, is the way out of darkness into light. It is our function here on earth, allowing us to recognize ourselves as the light of the world. Forgiveness, jubilance, it's what lifts the veil. It opens our eyes to the illusion of this world so we can see the truth about ourselves and we can see the truth about everyone else. We are all part of the great light of love that is meant to shine away any illusion of darkness in this world. Oh, but the ego, it still has something to say. But wait, the ego says. And this one is, raise your hand if you haven't said this one. Why do I always have to make the first move? Come on. Why does the burden of forgiveness always fall on me? Why do I have to go first? Why can't somebody forgive me once for a change? And you only ask that question because in your ego mind you have already shrouded, you have already covered under a bushel that light of the Christ within you. It's the only reason you would ever ask that question. This is the moment. This is the moment. When you're asking that question, why do I have to go first? That's the moment that you take your own recalcitrant self and you put it in the center of your own inner tribal circle. And instead of feeling helpless in the face of the world that you perceive to be irretrievably broken, I invite you in that circle within yourself to recall your own goodness, to tell yourself the stories of all of the times that you have been kind, all of the times that you have embodied love, all of the times that you have been compassionate. Put yourself in that circle and tell yourself good stories about you. Because when we can forgive ourselves for our part in creating this dysfunctional ego world, and we can recognize the face of Christ in our own mirror every morning, then all our weeping for this world will cease. We will understand that who we are looking for in this world, it stares right back at us, whether we're looking in the mirror or in the eyes of someone out there in the world. Jubilants, whenever we encounter an empty tomb today, let us laugh instead of cry, because that means that Jesus has indeed risen in body today, and Jesus stands before us in the form of every person we see. The question for us today then was the same as it was for Mary back then. Why are you weeping? What are you looking for? Whoever you think of as the Savior of the world, they are not dead. They're here, right now, in this room, out there. They live in your body. The Savior of the world is in your body. The Savior of the world is in every body that you see. They're just waiting to be recognized, to be brought into your circle, to be forgiven, to be loved, to be brought back into that holy, eternal community of joy and peace and love. Forgiveness, jubilants, it offers everything we could ever want. It resurrects our soul, and it resurrects every soul we meet because we recognize the Christ within them. So today and every day, I invite you, use forgiveness to lift the veil that prevents you from seeing Christ walking around in the body of everybody you see. Because when you do, you will look at that empty tomb of fear and realize with joy and not with tears that love has risen. It's up, it's awake, it's alive, it's walking around in all the forms you see, and it's just waiting for you to recognize and say, Rabboni, teacher, there you are. I see you. I see you. And when that moment comes, jubilants, all that you will know how to say is, oh, yeah. 2, 3, 4. There's nothing like forgiveness to resurrect the soul. Better to give it, yeah, than it is to get it. Oh, I've been forgiven, so I should know. I've been forgiven, so I should know. I've been forgiven, so I should know. Nobody should be less than whole. There's nothing like forgiveness to resurrect the soul. Better to give it, yeah, than it is to get it. I've been forgiven, so I'm letting you know. Nobody should be less than whole. Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I think we all ended on the same note. Okay. Oh, yeah. All right. I invite you during this prayer time, bring to mind, here's a fun thing. Bring to mind, I invite you, bring to mind somebody you haven't forgiven. Oh, you don't have to think long. There, right there, right there. And for many of us, the first person we think of is ourselves. Honestly, it is. And that's the hardest. You can go out, you can forgive your worst enemy. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is forgive yourself. So I invite you, whoever came to mind first, because there was somebody who just went, there they are. It did, it came right to mind. I invite you, put them in the circle of your heart. Whoever it is, whether it's you or somebody else. And think hard. You might have to think hard on some people, okay? I understand. But think of their goodness. Even, I remember seeing it was a picture, I can't even remember who it was, but it was someone who was a bad guy, was a bad world leader. And there was a picture of them, like with their grandchild or something. It was one of those things where, you see this person and you think they're so recalcitrant and evil in the world and things that they've done have hurt people, and you see them in a tender moment. And it reminds you that even though our justice system or the world might call them bad, might call them evil, they can still cradle a baby and feel something for that child. So even if it's that the person that you haven't forgiven is tender with their grandchildren, or even their child, or a dog, or a cat, plant, whatever, house plant. They water their house plants. That's a great thing. Something. Put them in your heart. Put them in your heart. And don't think about what you think the world ought to do to them because of what they've done. Meet them in that place of spirit. Rumi calls it the field out beyond, or beyond the beyond, where we really live, on that realm of spirit. And tell them all the good things. Tell them all the good things about themselves. And if it's you, tell you all the good things about yourself, because there's lots. There's way more than anything bad. I invite you in this time. Practice forgiveness. Practice resurrection. Oh, sorry. 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's all start together. Thank you. There is one breath we breathe together. There is one breath we all share. There is one tonight. We always do a talk back after a celebration. We have some folks in the room, yay! But we also will be on Zoom. So if you want to join us for the Zoom call, the link is at jubileecircle.com and on our Facebook page. And as before we adjourn to the Zoom room and discussion here after the celebration, I just wanted to thank all of the folks who, over this past year or so, have kept Jubilee Circle present, have kept us going. And I am so grateful to those who have continued their giving, because that means in the next couple of months or so, hopefully, more folks can come into the building, and we have this building still available, and we have all sorts of space. Now that we have taken the bar back and made a countertop out of it, we have all of this space, and so you can come and wear your masks and be socially distanced. And as more and more of us are vaccinated, I hope that we will feel comfortable coming back into the room. There is enough room for everyone, so please come on back. And thank you so much for those who have continued to donate. Thank you for the new folks who have donated to us throughout the year. We do appreciate all of that new support and of course, the ongoing support. And for those of you who haven't done it yet, hey, we have a Venmo now, y'all. Woohoo! So if you don't want to use PayPal, you can send us a check if you're the old-fashioned check writing. Post Office Box 4611, Columbia, South Carolina 29204. Please put that in the mail. It is also on your bulletin. If you've downloaded the bulletin, that address is there. But if you want to Venmo us, it's at Jubilee Circle. How easy is that? Come on. So get on your Venmo. Send us some support, because giving is receiving. And as we give out into the community. And as you receive, you give. And it's all just one big thing. So thank you so much for those who are supporting us. Thank you for those who are considering supporting us. And because we always like to say, when we are supported and giving is receiving, we say, oh yeah. All right. So I invite you to join us in the Zoom room, or for those in the room, if you want to stick around for a little discussion, you'll be able to see the folks all in the Zoom room. All right. If you're not joining us in the Zoom room, or you're out of here when all of this is over, I do want to remind you, there's this guy named Meister Eckhart. He was a 14th century mystic. Church didn't like him all that much, called him a heretic. So he's our kind of guy here at Jubilee Circle, Meister Eckhart. He once said, and we have a big old sign over here. You got to come in to see this sign. It says, the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you. It will be enough. And so we say, I forgot how the rhythm goes at the end here. The only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you. It will be enough. And so we say together, thank you. And we say,
oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We all walk together, hand in hand, side by side. We all walk together with hearts and arms open wide. We make the way by walking. Join us on the Zoom. You can applaud. Heck yeah, come on. We haven't heard that sound in forever. Right, applaud, throw money. All right, if you're joining us on the Zoom, we'll see you there. If not, have a great week. Bless you. Oh, yes. And we say, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sprinkles. Sprinkles.